So he takes cabs, like that's any safer, or has a limousine driver, and rides his bicycle and walks. And so one night in the late 1940s, he was walking home in a city not known for pedestrian culture. And a police officer came up to him and said, "Excuse me, sir, what are you doing?" And he said, "I'm putting one foot in front of the other." And the police officer thought that was a cocky response and interrogated him further. And it escalated to the point that Bradbury thought, "What are you going to do, arrest me for walking? I don't drive." And being a writer who writes about the future often, he went home and wrote about a society where walking was illegal in this short story, The Pedestrian. As great science fiction writers often do, they use the premise of what if. What if walking is illegal? Then that raises the problem-solving question, well, why would walking be forbidden? And his solution was, well, walking causes us to think. It gives us time in our heads. Why would that be bad? Well, we can challenge the system if we think. We can stand up to authority because we're philosophizing and we're coming up with our own dangerous ideas. So he wrote this story, and that really was the big bang that led to writing this thing. Because he took another pedestrian out in the name of Guy Montag, out for a walk one night, an autumn night after work, and he rounded a corner and ran into Clarice. And so if you read his introduction to the book, it's remarkable how he wrote this. He was living in a tract home in West Los Angeles and needed an office. His daughter, Bettina, and he has 4 daughters, were coming out to the garage and distracting him and wanting to play with him. And he wasn't writing his book. So he told his wife, "I need an office," and she said, "There is no money for an office." So he got on his bicycle and rode up to UCLA and walked into his old friend in the library. And as he walked by a door, he heard the sounds of typewriters coming up a staircase, and he ventured down the staircase and discovered a row of desks with about 12 typewriters on them, and students were working on term papers. And the typewriters had timers on them, a dime a half hour. Bradbury said, "I've discovered my office." He went across the street and got a cloth bag of dimes and endeavored to write Fahrenheit 451. He wrote the book, the really 50,000 words in 9 days for $9.80 in dimes. His joke is, I didn't know at the time I was writing a dime novel. But he would take breaks and walk upstairs and wander the stacks of the library, pluck books off the shelf, read, and then run back down and insert those literary references into the book. He is a bibliophile, the likes of which I've never encountered. The man worships the very structure and architecture of a book. He does not like the Kindle and does not want e-books to take over. He loves the very physical nature of a book. He loves to hold the book in his hands. I recall distinctly one day sitting and watching his wife and Ray Bradbury sitting sniffing books as if it were a drug. "Oh, doesn't this book smell magnificent, Sam?" They worship books. They touch the bindings. You drive by a bookstore with him and he'll say, "Stop the car!" His wife would take his wallet away because she knew he would go into bookstores and buy armloads of books. Loves them. And so he would go and feel books and touch books in the library at UCLA and rush back down and celebrate books. And he wrote this masterwork about the salvation of literature in just 9 days.